The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome, Deadites, to part 6 of What If Deku Wasn't Saved in Time. We left off with the exam that we all know Mucosa was going to destroy. However, Mucosa made themselves a friend in Tsuyu. On the inverse, since there was no Deku to save Ochako, but a more down-to-earth Katsuki, I don't think I need to tell you all the possible consequences of that. But let's just fast pass it to the first day of school. Class 1A is unaltered in its roster. However, not everyone is in the class at the moment. Katsuki is sitting at his desk when Ochako notices him. Thank you for saving me the other day. Ochako gave the perfect bow. Raise your head. Remember, you saved my ass too. It was around that point when Mucosa dropped Katsuki a line and he opened the window. Everyone turned their eyes to see a hawk perch on Katsuki's shoulder. Took you long enough. You trying to be late or something? Watcher opens her mouth and exudes Mucosa. They take basic slime form and Watcher flies back home. You know I could never be late. All Might would beat my non-existent rear. That's when Mina Asido pops up next to Mucosa. Hey, you're that slime girl that stole the show with that giant blob form. You were Bear the Mount Lady. Mucosa sighs and blasts in everyone's mind. I'm genderless. As you can see, I'm a literal ball of slime and can take on whatever form I please at the time. However, I do tend to balance towards a female body more often than not. Also, it's about time someone woke up. Mucosa forcibly nudged Aizawa awake. An irritated Shota Aizawa was now wide awake and ready for class. Not cool, Mucosa. Let's get this over with, Shota. I assume you want me to play along, or shall I stay quiet? Aizawa told them to just stay quiet. After the show they had made, there's no way in hell he'd be able to even... He couldn't possibly fake expelling them. Alright, it took you all way too long to shut up. Get in your gym clothes. It's time for an evaluation. Also, whoever places last is getting expelled. Katsuki doesn't say a damn thing since Mucosa had warned him about this trick, but he did play along and looked along. You can't do that. We passed already. Uraraka shouts. He's the teacher here, and he can do whatever he pleases, so long as it's for the betterment of the class. As far as we are concerned, he is God. Mucosa said while making a body. Most of the guys were stunned at the body Mucosa made. Like I said, the female form of theirs is no slouch. Mineta was inches away from the men's locker room when Mucosa interjected. Hey, let me go! I gotta get dressed! Mucosa had swapped to slime form and now had Mineta inside of them. Yeah, I don't think so, Miss Mineta. We are going to the girls' locker room right now. Some of the girls scream when they see Mineta inside of Mucosa. Relax. Miss Mineta here needs to get changed like the rest of you. Mucosa just melted Mineta's uniform to prove their point. Jaws drop when they realize that he is a she. Holy crap, she was a girl? Yeah, and the little perv was heading for the boys' locker room. Those poor boys. The girls praise Mucosa on a job well done, and they start leaving, but see Tsuyu getting dressed. I'm sorry, Miss Asui. I'll just be going now. No one here knows the signs of Mucosa blushing, so I'll tell you. They were a very brighter shade. You might as well stay. You're here anyway. Ribbit. With that, Mucosa sighed and took on a nude female form and sat next to a changing Tsuyu and started chatting with the girls. The women in their life have equipped them for this moment. Mucosa was actually quite enjoying themselves. The girls took a moderate amount of time, but got out before Aizawa, thanks to Mucosa. So they're feeling girly today, Katsuki thought to himself. He was glad that Mucosa was making friends their age. Mucosa took a place next to Aizawa since they weren't partaking in the evaluation. They all do about as expected, short of Katsuki shattering the records of his canon self. All that training with All Might and whatnot. Mucosa is not happy. Shota, I want to play too. We've been over this, Mucosa. There's no point in you doing this for multiple reasons. Mucosa resigned their complaints. Aizawa was right. Ochako did the ball throw and got infinity as usual, but Mucosa, retrieve that ball, please. Consider this your activity. That ball had already broken the stratosphere. Luckily enough for Mucosa, Watcher was near, so they used her as a booster of sorts to get the ball before it left Earth. Everyone was impressed by that. Damn, girl. High five. Mucosa gave the high five and then realized what they had responded to. Asido was smirking. Miss Asido, I believe that I must remind you that I am genderless. The fact that they are speaking and acting like a proper Japanese young lady doesn't help with what they're saying. And Mucosa just slinks to Katsuki and rests on his head in blue form. He appreciated the cooling off. Running away to your boyfriend won't save you, you know. It was at that point that Mucosa had lost their patience with Mina and gave her quite the migraine. Katsuki Bakugo is not my boyfriend, Miss Ashido. He's my best friend. Mr. Aizawa, if there's no further need of me, may I go for the day? Aizawa allows Mucosa to leave, and Watcher just swoops down, and they are gone. Hey, Pinky, be happy they just gave you a migraine. They could have shut down your entire nervous system or made you act like a dog or something, because his quirk is terrifying, and I wouldn't tease them if I were you. Aizawa was glaring daggers at Mina. Everyone except Katsuki Bakugo and Tsuyu Asui are to do 100 laps. Get moving. And you can blame Miss Ashido for this. Like Mr. Bakugo over here said, you could have ended up far worse if you had crossed the line. That migraine you're feeling is nothing. I've seen what Mucosa can do, and I can't stop them. So let that sink in for all of you. Don't tease the slime, 'cause if you break them, I can't help you. You are not to use your quirks. If I find out you do, those 100 laps become 1,000 laps. Get moving. Tsuyu was curious why she wasn't running with everyone else, but Hatsuki had an idea. You want us to find them, don't you? With that, the two were given leave, exchanged numbers, and went for the divide and conquer method. I suppose you're wondering why Tsuyu is looking for Mucosa. Remember, I said they made quite friendly with one another. They've hung out from time to time, so they know each other to a point. And Aizawa sent them based on how often Mucosa speaks of her. It's pretty obvious that they perceive her as a friend based off that. And the fact that they almost went to her in the first place also helps with that. Katsuki calls the Sasaki household in hopes of having Inko ping Mucosa's location. Both mothers' reactions were worried for their child. Mucosa was blocking all attempts at connecting with them. They just wanted to be alone for a bit. When that didn't work, Katsuki gave Kana a call. I'm sorry, dear. I haven't seen them. I'm currently on a date with Mirio. Would you like us to look for them? Katsuki was tempted to say yes. Nah, enjoy your date. Mirio doesn't get that much time off being the sidekick of the #1 hero. Sorry for bothering you. Well, crap. Those were the places Mucosa would normally be, but Tsuyu remembered that Mucosa was grumbling about not being able to play when they were having a private chat in the locker room. Tsuyu also noticed that Mucosa liked the water, and if they just wanted to be left alone, then home is out of the question. The river. Tsuyu hopped in water and swam as fast as the current would carry her. Of course, it's not like Mucosa was in danger or anything at this point. However, Katsuki was freaking the hell out. Tsuyu finds Mucosa just chilling in the waterway. The very same spot that started this story in the first place. You look pretty calm right now, Rivet. I know you like the water, but this is something else, isn't it, Rivet? Have a seat, Miss Asui. I like you, so I'll tell you my story. This is where I was born, so to speak. So here's a poll. Does Mucosa tell Tsuyu the full story? Do they tell her the usual? Or do they phone in Katsuki as well, so he can hear the full story? All of those have some fascinating consequences, but back to the story. Tsuyu hugs Mucosa while crying. It was a rather warm embrace. It felt nice. They liked it. No, they liked Tsuyu. Thank you, Tsuyu. You're very welcome, Mucosa. Rivet. Mucosa made tendrils and hugged her back. This is the beginning of a wonderful friendship, Tsuyu. You get me in ways that Katsuki just doesn't, and I appreciate that. Now, to be clear, if you guys chose the one with Katsuki being dropped a line, he won't be hearing any of that. The two head back to Mucosa's home, and Tsuyu makes a call to her parents, and she gets permission to stay the night. Before bed, they talked about simple things. Heroes, sports, villains, cars, fashion even, and, well, boys. While Mucosa is genderless, they are having fun being a girl for a bit.
Tsuyu is wearing pajamas and she's currently in Mucosa's room.
The plastic bed sheet has been removed from the bed and Mucosa is literally sleeping on Tsuyu. Remember, her skin has a mucosal properties, so Mucosa is in utter heaven right now. The morning starts and Tsuyu was going to take a shower, but Mucosa offers to
Clean her off since they can do that.
whatever oils are on her skin, short of the mucus, would technically be a meal for them. However, Tsuyu chooses the shower. Mucosa was going to get off of her, but
You don't have to do that, Ribbit. You've seen me naked already anyway, and it won't be the last time if the girls in class have their way. You're my friend, and besides, you're harmless.
Mucosa hands Tsuyu the toiletries she requires, as she requires them, and washes her hair for her. They rather liked spending time with Tsuyu, and would try not to get annoyed by Miss Ashido, even though she can be rather pushy at times. The time for class came, and everyone was waiting for Hawk to come out of the already open window.
I guess I did a little too much in my teasing. Think they'll ever forgive me, Bakugo?
Mucosa slivered a bit from Tsuyu. Remember Scourge from Ben 10? Sort of what they look like at this moment.
You are forgiven, Miss Ashido. And don't you look lovely, Miss Mineta? Now hurry up and sit down. You're all in for a treat.
The door opens a bit and your teacher is here. That's right, Deadites. Mirio is teaching in UA. In this specific case, I think All Might would still have a role in UA, but since he doesn't need a successor and Mucosa has had the power for about 6 years, meaning they know what they're doing, All Might still has a role in the school, so let's say he's the vice principal. Get your suits ready. We're going to do some combat training, and Mucosa, you get to play today. Just don't go too wild, okay? Now, that date, Mucosa left a little early, yes. So we're gonna say that the paperwork for Mirio wasn't quite done, and today is his first official day teaching. I know it's a little rather odd workaround, but that's what we're doing. Mucosa was so happy that they hopped off of Tsuyu, took on a humanoid form, male this time, and hugged Mirio.
Thank you, Mirio-ni.
If you want to thank me, make your opponents work for it, Mucosa. But try not to do too many of your mind tricks. We gotta keep this fair after all.
You got it.
Mucosa took on a wicked shade of green, and Katsuki really hoped he didn't have to face them while gulping. See you next time, Deadites.